Day 3 of Richard Jakpa's cross-examination by prosecution started with an enhanced security presence. Remember that at the last court sitting, Justice Tuah-Yeboah made a directive for national security to investigate circumstances leading to unsanctioned recordings of court proceedings. Today, it was evidently clear that the court had made an order for the security agencies, and so it proved there were a number of national security officers present in court as well as the military. And of course, the cross-examination itself also started in a very interesting fashion where Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tuah-Yeboah, in fact, subjected Mr. Richard Jakpa to cross-examination. The focus of the cross-examination one is in relation to the audio recordings. It was a case of the prosecution that, look, the audio was about 26 minutes, but Mr. Jakpa only brought about 16 minutes of it to come and tell his case. It was a response of Mr. Jakpa that in the course of the conversation with the Attorney General, when he realized that the Attorney General is making some criminal element, he decided to record him. That is how come he was able to record an audio in the region of 15 to 16 minutes. He was also confronted by his claim that the Attorney General has described the people of the central region as cheap people, that fancies are cheap. It was the case of the Attorney General that it was the figment of his own imagination. But Mr. Jakpa said that that is not the situation, but it was a claim of the Attorney General. And not only that the people, the fancies are cheap, but also that they made the point that they were pumping money to be able to win the central region, which they claim is a swing seat. There was also another point that the Attorney General has been confronting Mr. Richard Jakpa with, which is in relation to the claims that the Attorney General had indicated to him that the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and Ken Ofori-Atta, the then Finance Minister, were on his neck to ensure that Dr. Kasila Atuforsin is convicted and jailed. This is the point that the state is indicating that that was not the point. But Mr. Jakpa repeated that same position, that it was the same point that the Attorney General had with him. In fact, today's cross-examination, Deputy Attorney General started with the cross-examination and focused on the aspect of the allegations made by Mr. Jakpa and the content of the audio and some conversations what transpired between him and the Attorney General. And that dramatic moment or in turn of events, the Attorney General, Godfred Dame, for the first time after the June 6th ruling where Justice Tuah-Yeboah advised him to directly stay out of the trial, was called upon to face Mr. Richard Jakpa for the first time in this whole matter. It was quite interesting. The focus of Attorney General's cross-examination was about the registration of Mr. Jakpa's company, whether Big C, the contractual agreement and all that. And at the point in time, the Attorney General put to Mr. Jakpa that he received over 28% of the contract sum in relation to this whole transaction. But Mr. Jakpa explained that it involves remuneration, it involves transaction fees, it involves a whole lot of charges and all that. So that particular money did not only go into his pocket. But we've been seeking some responses from the parties here in this whole matter. The National Communication Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, has this to say.
Well, we are very satisfied with the testimony and the performance of Richard Jakpa as always. You can see that he offered free education to the Attorney General and the prosecution on many issues about the contract, parliamentary approval and all that. You see, what the AG is trying to do is to tie Jakpa to the case, because Jakpa's, the main crux of his defense is that he was an agent for Big C. And therefore, if at all there has been any breaches, if at all, if emphasis mine, he is not to be blamed. And so the line of cross-examination you saw the Attorney General proceed on was just to show that he had a role to play in the transaction. But for us, the issue boils down to whether or not something untoward has been done. In our opinion, we think nothing untoward has been done.
The spokesperson for the Attorney General, Mr. Wilberforce Mensah, also has this reaction.
Mr. Jakpa himself admitted on oath that he benefited through Jakpa at business or his company. He benefited some 700,000 euros, which is something many people did not know. There's some 700,000 euros representing 28.7% of the entire amount. The ambulances came into the system, that was in 2014. So I'm saying this date to make it abundantly clear that from the documents that were presented or from the evidence that was put across in court today, Big C did not even have the ISO certification to even deal or to even do this sort of conversion from a regular vehicle to an ambulance, even at the time that the ambulances came into the country in 2014.
All of these are the people from the central region, and they were in court to make their presence felt, especially in relation to the allegation being made that the Attorney General has described the fancies as cheap.
The central region has produced intellectuals, people who have occupied the position of presidency in this country. We have all levels of professionals in this country from the central region. And more so, education started from central region. So it's a citadel of education. And for Godfred Dame to come out to describe the region as cheap is quite an unfortunate statement. And we have to come here today to bear our teeth, to let him know that we are not cheap. I will say that those who are cheap are those people who vote for MPP in central region. But we have responsible people in the central region.
Today's court session is without drama. There were some scores of people who thrown the premises of the law court complex to throw support behind Dr. Kasiele Atufosin. Watch this. That is the point that these sympathizers of Dr. Kasiele Atufosin are communicating. From the law court complex here in Accra, Mutala Idusa, GHOne. Charlie, my bread.